Today I'm going to show you a left-handed tutorial for the 2 and 4 stitch cables from the blanket of mini stitches. Now the cables use a 2-row pattern repeat, and they use front post double crochet stitches for the first row and back post double crochet stitches for the second row. And that's a double crochet stitch if you're using US terminology. It's a treble crochet stitch if you're using UK terminology. Now we're actually the pattern sequence is mid-row that I'm going to show you. So I've got 3 double crochet stitches in here at the start of the row, and we're going to start off by doing the 2-stitch cable, which is the smaller of the 2 cables. Now an ordinary double crochet stitch is worked into the space at the top of the stitch, which is just up here. For the cable stitches, we're going to use a front post double crochet stitch, so we're going to be working around the post part of the stitch, which is this vertical part that's just here. So the next 2 stitches, there's one here and there's one here. What we do to make the cable for the first row is we're going to skip 1 stitch, and we're going to make our first front post double crochet stitch around the second stitch just here. So you yarn over, insert your hook around that stitch, yarn over and come back round. That gives you 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, and then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 stitches. And then what we're going to do is make another front post double crochet stitch back around the stitch that we skipped. So here you can see this is the one that we've gone round, and this is the post of the stitch that we've skipped. So this is the one that we're going to work around now. So yarn over, and then you're going to insert your hook around this post like that. Yarn over and come back through. There's your 3 loops. Yarn over through 2, and yarn over through 2. And that gives you your small 2-stitch cable from the front. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3 regular double crochet stitches. So the next stitch, the easiest way to work out where your next stitch is to find the next unworked post, which is here. And then the space that you're going to work into for the top of that stitch is just slightly above and to the right of the post. So there's the stitch, there's the space. So we're going to yarn over and go in there. And I'm going to do 3 regular double crochet stitches, 1 into each of the next 3 stitches. So there's 1, oh, 2, and 3, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do the larger of the 2 cables needed for the blanket, and that's worked across 4 stitches. So this is the last stitch that you've been into. There's the post that belongs to that stitch. The larger cable is worked across 4 stitches, so it's these 4 stitches just here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, just like the smaller cable, we actually work the second half of the stitch first. So as it's a 4-stitch cable, the second half of the stitch is the last 2 stitches, and we're going to start off by working our post around stitch number 3. So we're going to do a front post double crochet stitch around this stitch just here and skip 1 and 2. So you yarn over, insert your hook around that post, and make your front post double crochet stitch. And then we're going to work around stitch number 4. So you can see here, this is 1, this is 2, we've worked around 3, now we're going to work around 4 here. And now, once we've finished this stitch, what we're going to do is actually cross back on ourselves and work around post 1 and then around post 2 so that you're doubling back and forming the twist that makes up the cable. So yarn over, and then post 1 is here. Sometimes you might find it easier to count backwards from post 3 if you're not entirely sure. So post 3, the first one that you've actually worked around already is here. There's 2, there's 1. So around the post, yarn over, come back through, yarn over through 2, and yarn over through 2. And then you work around post number 2, which is the only post of these 4 that doesn't have a stitch around it. And that is the first row of your large cable. Now we go to work. I'm going to work 3 double crochet stitches in each of the next 3 stitches after the cable. Again, there's your last post. Find the next unworked post, and there's the space at the top of the stitch. Now I'm doing this in a bigger hook than I'd normally use for the blanket, and I'm doing it in a bigger hook just so that everything is a little bit looser, and hopefully you'll be able to see where you're going a little bit more clearly because it's that bit looser. There's a bit more space between all the posts. There we go. So they don't look very much like cables at this stage, but as you go through and do more and more pattern repeats, the twist becomes more obvious. So that's the first row, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn around and I'm going to show you how to do row 2 of the pattern repeat. So we're going to start off with 3 double crochet stitches, regular ones, into 1, 2, 3, and then we come to our cable, which at this stage looks a bit of a mess, but I'm going to talk you through it. So we do our 3 regular double crochet stitches, I've got cold hands today and my fingers don't want to play. There we go, and 3. And now we come to our cable. Now what we're going to do is back post double crochet stitches, but this time instead of skipping any, you do them in order. And to do that, what you need to do, if you turn your crochet towards you, your first 2 stitches are the 2 that are leaning over here. So there and there. These 2 posts are your first 2. So we're going to work around this post first, and then we're going to work around this post. Now, as it's a back post double crochet stitch, the easiest thing to do is actually to tilt your work towards you so that you can see the post. And then you're going around that first post, yarn over, and come back through. Oh, I need to yarn over first. Too busy showing you where the post was. So yarn over, find that post again. It's that one just here. This one that's the first one that you've made. So you go around that post, yarn over, come back. There's your 3 loops on the hook, and yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. There's your first back post double crochet stitch made. Now, your next back post double crochet stitch is going to go around this stitch. So you've worked the first one of the twisted cable here. Can you see that? Oh well, can you see that? The first one was here. The second one is this one that's just raised up here. So when you've got your yarn over, you go around that post. Again, it's easier if you've got it tilted towards you so that you can see what you're doing. And then yarn over and come back out. There's your 3 loops. Yarn over through 2. Yarn over through 2. Now, this is the slightly complicated part about a cable stitch, because now what you have to do is you have to work the last 2 stitches of your cable, which are here, and you see just by my thumbs, but we have to work them as back post double crochet stitches, so you have to work them from the back. So it's easiest if you give it a good tug. What you don't want to do is work them from that side, because you end up in a, you don't want to work them from that side because you end up in a big twisted mess. So you have to make sure that you work them from this side. You see, these are the ones that you've already worked, and these are the ones that you're going to work next. If I show you from the front, you might be able to see. The temptation is to work them into that gap there, but they actually need to come across and work over here. So I find if you pinch with your finger the stitches that you've already worked one around just there, you can pull them out of the way. And that leaves you your 2 posts, 1 and 2 here, that you need to work around. So that's them. There's one there and there's one there. So you're going to yarn over and you're going to go round that post, yarn over and come back through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So there's the first one, and here's the second one just here. So that's the second one just there, this one here. So yarn over, go in from the back and round, yarn over and come back through. There's your 3 loops on the hook, yarn over through 2, yarn over and through 2. And then all of your stitches, if I turn this around so that you can have a good look, all of your stitches are then sat back in order again, so that from when you turn it over you can see that they're all sat in a nice row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the twist is on the front. And you get a bit of a gap on either side of your cable, but that's absolutely normal, so don't worry about that at all. Now we're going to turn it back round, and we've got 3 double crochet stitches to work, 1, 2, 3, and then the small cable just here. So let me put this back through my fingers. Now, if you give it a good pull apart, you can see where your 3 double crochet stitches go. 1, 2, 3. That's what we're going to make in there. There's 1. 2. 3. And then we come to the small cable. Now again, you need to work them in order. So the first one that you're going to work, you can see on the back. It's the one that's twisted over here. The second one that you're going to work is at the front, but you need to work it from the back. So you pull them apart like that and work it from the back. But we're going to do this one first. So yarn over, go around that post, yarn over, come back through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And now we need to work across the one that's sitting at the front. This one's the trickier one to work around. Pinch the one that you've just made, pull it sideways out of the way. That frees up that post so that you can see that post much more clearly just there. Yarn over and go around that post. If you are, oh, I've got an extra bit that's caught. If you're finding it really tricky to see where that post is, what you can do is put a stitch mark around it. So when you're sitting there and you're going through your row, before you start doing your back posts, you can look at your row and you can find all of your posts that belong to your cable stitches and put stitch markers around them, and then it makes it visually much clearer where you need to put your hook and where you're going around. So that's the back of the cable, and if we turn it over, there's the front of the cable, and as it grows you'll see the twist. Thank you for watching.